Rise and Grind DMV. Happy Saturday. We are waking up to a mixture of sun and clouds today, and overall this weekend, the forecast will be in your favor. So keep it here. We'll have a full breakdown of that forecast up next.
This morning on DC News Now, the Commanders back on the way to the district after council approves the RFK Stadium deal. Why many are still skeptical about the move. And new details on the deadly plane crash over the Potomac River in January. Why officials are saying that night vision goggles may have played a role in the collision. And happening this weekend, we've got to tell you about a new teen curfew zone you got to be aware of. It's in effect in DC, but how long will it last?
You're watching the station covering all of the DMV. This is DC News Now.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for spending your Saturday morning with us here on DC News Now. I'm Haley Mylon. Let's take a live look outside right now at the Roslyn skyline, waking up to a beautiful day here in the DMV. Brittany, we really couldn't ask for a better one. Brittany Ward joining us here with some good news in your weather for once this week, for once.
You know, this is a welcoming break. You know, we are tracking those cooler temperatures, no rain in the forecast for today and tomorrow, and it looks like for the first half of the work week. So what a way to open up the first weekend of August.
Remember what life was like without rain.
Exactly. You know, we are seeing a mixture of sun and clouds right now. That will continue today. But look, our friends, good friends, high pressure just off to the north. That will continue to dominate the weather pattern as we head through the next several days, providing us with those dry conditions. We do have a disturbance, though, just south of the region, providing some storms right now to the Carolinas. So if you are going to be traveling south today, you may be running into that. But here at home, we're going to be tracking those dry and quiet conditions. Temperature-wise, not looking bad. We have now starting to see a rise in temperatures from earlier this morning. A few locations back off to the west, we're sitting in the 50s. It looks like Winchester, you're still the only location right now sitting at 59 degrees, so such a welcoming sight. Closer to the district, we're now in the lower 70s, 69 currently in Fredericksburg, Virginia, 63 currently there in Hagerstown. Now, yes, we are starting to see a bit of a warm up. Think back to 24 hours ago. This time yesterday, we are about a degree to maybe 4 degrees warmer than what we were yesterday, and highs today expected to be below average for this time of year. Still getting into the 80s with that mixture of sun and clouds. We're also going to be tracking lower humidity values. So keep it here. We'll have a full breakdown of that forecast, what to expect heading into the rest of the weekend and to open up the new work week, Haley, coming up in just a bit.
Brittany, thank you so much. And in the district, at long last, the NFL will return to Washington, D.C. After weeks of negotiating, the Washington Commanders and pressure from Mayor Muriel Bowser and congressional leaders. The D.C. Council coming to an agreement on its first vote on the deal. Our Daniel Hamburg breaks it down.
The $4.4 billion deal to bring the Commanders back to D.C. is almost done.
The bill is approved.
In a 9-3 vote, council members signaled they're ready to redevelop the RFK site.
This will have an immeasurable impact on the quality of life for residents in Ward 7.
And I think everybody can find something to be proud about.
The only no votes Friday came from council members Brianne Nadeau, Matt Fruman, and Robert White.
How can we say we don't have enough for our residents on Monday and then turn around and say we found $1 billion for a billionaire franchise on Friday?
One major reason some council members changed their tune on the deal is a new contract agreement between the Commanders and union partners requiring 51% of workers be district residents.
By bringing the Washington Commanders home and redeveloping the 180 acres of RFK, that will really jumpstart our economy.
White's amendments didn't pass, including one about enforceable timelines for housing, though he thinks there are enough votes to get that passed on the second vote.
I want to make sure we don't end up with just the stadium and not the housing and the grocery store that people are counting on. And if that's not enforceable, it may not happen.
Mayor Bowser just wants to start as soon as possible.
I think so many people are focused on 2030, but really to get to 2030, we start hiring consultants and contractors and planners right now.
Commanders owner Josh Harris said in a statement, RFK was the site of memories that fueled my love for this team and this city. Now we're closer than ever to reigniting that energy for a new generation.
That was Daniel Hamburg reporting there. The second and final vote on the massive deal is scheduled for September 17th. And developing now, an inmate dying in the Fairfax County Jail just hours after his arrest. Police say Omar McNassie was booked on Wednesday evening. He died the next day. He was found unresponsive in his cell. Fairfax County Police say no foul play is expected here. And developing now, a shooting leaves a man dead in Largo, Maryland. Police say it happened on Harry S. Truman Drive. The man died on the scene. Investigators don't believe this was random, though. If you know anything about what happened, contact Prince George's County Police. And in the district, check out this map. A new teen curfew is going into effect, and if you've got kids, you need to know about it. You can see here, covering a large portion of Southwest D.C., from the Wharf down to Audi Field, up to 395 and over to South Capitol Street. That's where Nats Park is located. Kids under the age of 18 can't gather in large groups between 8 and 11 p.m. all weekend in this area. This is all to prevent scenes like this one. Hundreds of teens recording a few months ago in Navy Yard and Southwest Waterfront. Just last month, there were reports of kids shooting off fireworks at buildings and cars in the district. A citywide curfew remains in effect through the end of the month for all kids under 18. It begins at 11 p.m. and lasts until 6 a.m. The driver who hit and killed two young children who were walking to school back in 2023 in Maryland has now been sentenced. Olga Jimenez will serve 4 months in jail after pleading guilty to failing to stop for pedestrians in a crosswalk. 5-year-old Sky Sosa and 10-year-old Shalom Emba were walking to Riverdale Elementary School in November of 2023. Jimenez made a left turn at the intersection, hitting and killing the children. In health news, the Trump administration is coming down on medical professionals who they believe are medically biased. Some groups, part of the Advisory Committee on Immunization Practices, they were emailed saying they would no longer serve on the committee and are barred from informing the development of vaccine recommendations. They've since asked for a reconsideration of that decision. Well, yesterday was day 3 of hearings as investigators on Capitol Hill worked to learn what led up to January's mid-air collision over the Potomac River that left 67 people dead. While the final report from the NTSB won't come out until sometime next year, the hearing testimony revealed new details, including what appeared to have gone wrong. Take a look at this newly released video. It shows the Army helicopter was flying higher than it was supposed to. Our Max Marcilla shares what we learned over the course of more than 24 hours of testimony.
Reaching the end of a very lengthy and very in-depth set of hearings over the last 3 days about the deadly mid-air collision near Reagan National Airport. It was really emotional for the families who lost loved ones in the tragedy. It was also really eye-opening for the public who saw just how many red flags there were in the aviation industry leading up to the crash.
There are a lot of things that can be done differently. I don't think this accident occurred that night. I think it happened years before.
That finding not a surprise for Sherry Lilly.
We've learned some pretty distressing things about just broken safety culture.
She's here to advocate for aviation safety and remember her 28-year-old stepson, Sam, who was a co-pilot of the American Airlines plane.
He was so playful, but when he decided to become an aviator, he became so serious about that.
Friday's hearing led to admissions that the pilots of the Black Hawk helicopter would have had a hard time spotting the American Airlines plane because of night vision goggles. That following 2 days of revelations about all that went wrong on the night of January 29th.
We are all very uncomfortable when those two units are operating.
We heard concerns about the crowded airspace around the airport between planes and military helicopters. Attempts to change that years ago never materialized.
Why did it take 67 lives to be lost and families who are just destroyed forever to understand what was occurring?
Also discussed misleading altitude reading instruments for the Army helicopter, which was flying above the limit, trouble with the dispatch audio inside the helicopter, and an overwhelmed traffic controller, a member of an understaffed tower.
The administrative staff was my biggest concern.
In Southwest Washington, Max Marcilla, DC News Now.
Max, thank you for that reporting. You can read more about the NTSB's findings on the deadly midair collision on our website, dcnewsnow.com. Hey, Brittany, how about a look at your forecast? I hear that you do have a pick of the weekend. Have you made one?
Yeah, I was just saying it's kind of hard to pick which day would be the pick of the weekend. Both days we are expected highs in the 80s. It's going to be a mixture of sun and clouds, and we're also going to be tracking less humid conditions. So if you ask me, I would say both days will be the pick of the weekend. But for your Saturday, if you are going to be out and about, it's an amazing morning. We were waking up to those temperatures in the 50s to 60s. As we head through the rest of the morning, though, we'll start to see them warm up, getting into the lower 70s right around that 9 o'clock hour. A mix of sun and clouds expected as we head through your lunchtime. Temperatures warming up into the upper 70s, and then it's going to be warm and comfortable as we head through the afternoon. Highs today expected to be in the lower 80s with that mixture of sun and clouds still in play. And the good news is, Haley, that's going to linger into your Sunday. So keep it here. We'll talk more about your weekend forecast and what to expect heading into next week coming up in just a bit.